Before we get into today's episode of the Talk Wrexham Podcast, get down there and subscribe if you are new watching this video. We're on the road to 6,000 subscribers, so if you could help out and subscribe, it would mean a lot. And yeah, let's get into the podcast. It's the return of the Talk Wrexham Podcast. It is back today, and we have got a couple of juicy topics we are going to be talking about. First of all, look at this absolute stunning shirt I've got on, the retro Wrexham shirt t-shirt. I absolutely love it. Like I said, we have got a couple of good topics to talk about. So before we get into it, go down there, drop a like on today's video. Let's go for 120 likes. Let's get talking about the first topic. So I just wanted to talk about our game in front of the BT cameras on Saturday against Woking. Obviously, before we headed off, we knew it was never going to be an easy game. We never go there and get a routine 3 points. And the other day, it just proved that that point is correct. Obviously, for the first 10 minutes after the red card happened when Lofthouse got sent off, I thought we really controlled the game well and started playing some really nice football. And obviously, Hayden scored the header. But ever since Hayden scored the header, we just didn't look like a top 7 team. The way we played, there was no intensity. We weren't pressing very well. We were letting Woking have chances and allowing them to have good build-up play. But it does show, obviously, a team like Wrexham, we didn't play very well, but we still managed to get the 3 points and score 3 goals. Obviously, if we're looking at the penalty, it was a 50-50, but I'm nudging towards it was more a penalty than not a penalty. And then obviously their goal after the restart of the second half, avoidable maybe, but it's a good goal. But obviously Parkinson will be looking on how we could have stopped those goals from going in and the situations that led up to the penalty. I thought as soon as Elliot Lee did come on for Max Cleworth, we looked so much more threatening going forward. And I think this should be something Parkinson takes note of in the future. This is a further topic we'll be talking about, a future formation change. But like I said, once we brought an extra attacker on, we just look so much more fluid and so much more free-flowing up front. We also took advantage of the extra man very well, I thought, because we had 67% of the possession, evidently tiring out the opposition. And to be fair, I thought Woking, they put up a good fight, and I think I can see them being definitely in and around the top 12 this season. I think they've got a decent team going. I like Darren Sarll. I think he's a good manager. I like what he's trying to put together at Woking. And I think when we sort of hit December, January, things will start to click. And I think Woking can really be a bogey team for many opposition sides. To conclude from our game against Woking, what we sort of learn is the fact that we do play better when we do have 4 at the back rather than 5 at the back. There's so much more creativity up front, and obviously that addition of Elliot Lee up front, like I've said, really helped us out, really helped us, make chances and have a few more shots on goal. And I think we looked equally as stable at the back as well. If you stick a cross on Aaron Hayden's head, he will score 9 times out of 10. What a beast he is in the air. Obviously, he's a great aerial presence to have from Tozer's throws and on corners. And also, it wasn't a satisfying performance, but like I said, we got what we went there for, 3 points. And it shows even on a bad day, we can still get the win. That shows a lot about the character of the team. And I think that's what will push us through and what makes the teams that are going to finish in the playoffs and the teams that don't. Right, we're going to be talking about a more juicy topic now. This should be interesting. What I'm going to be debating is whether we should play 4 at the back or 5 at the back. I'm going to stick it out there before we discuss it. I would much rather play a 4 at the back system, and I'm sure many of the Wrexham fans watching this can totally agree. Obviously, playing 4 at the back allows us to have that extra man in midfield, something that I think we definitely need, having watched the last few games. Now, I think the perfect formation that would suit this current starting 11 is the 4-2-1-2 formation with the sort of kite formation in that midfield. We'd obviously have that one centre defensive midfielder sitting in front of the back 4, which I think O'Connor would perfectly suit, because obviously we saw at Wembley O'Connor played at the left centre-back role, and to be fair, he didn't look out of position, and I think that's O'Connor's suited position, sort of sitting in front of the back 4, controlling what goes on in that defensive third, and I think that'll be really good, because at the minute, O'Connor's not getting any game time. James Jones is playing ahead of him, which, say what you will, personally for me, I think O'Connor should be the one starting in the team. And then obviously in front of that, you'd have the two in the midfield, which I think should be Young and Davis. Obviously, we've got Luke Young, who can shoot, he can create attacking chances and can also defend. Same with Jordan Davis. What an asset he would be going forward, and obviously tracking back, he can do a job in the defensive role. And obviously we'd have the one sitting in front of those and behind the strikers, who I think should be Elliot Lee. Do I need to explain about Lee? Obviously came on against Eastleigh, completely changed the game. Shows to Parkinson why he should be starting. Obviously he hasn't been starting of late. That's probably because he's not 100% fit. I don't know why he's not 100% fit, but I feel like this formation would obviously really suit as well. Now, obviously as a Wrexham fan, I've watched the majority of the games so far this season, and we sort of had this problem the back end of last season and the start of last season. It sort of improved midway through, but then we saw it, just gaps of it starting at the end of the season. It's the fact that we definitely do need that extra midfield in obviously the midfield role, because it does look very empty at times when we do play the midfield three. I don't know why this is. It just looks at times there's just loads of gaps, and it's easy for the opposition team to start threading passes through and just breaking us apart easily. And I do feel like we'd have O'Connor sitting in front of the back four, doing a solid job, doesn't let anything go through. We've got the two sitting in front of those who do near enough the same job but also push on and attack. I feel like it's a no-brainer for Parkinson to go for this formation. And obviously having the attacking threat of Jordan Davis, Elliot Lee, and obviously Luke Young and O'Connor, it also allows a nice attacking to defensive balance in that midfield, which is obviously, you have to have that in a team. You can't just have attacking players. If we do get any injuries, James Jones is an incredible player to have on the bench and to bring into that team, and could fit in either role, to be honest. He could be playing that midfield two alongside Young. He could slot into centre defensive midfield, probably could do a job in centre attack midfield, but the likeliness of that happening is very low. Also as well, I think at the end of the day, we shouldn't really be playing five at the back against the likes of Maidenhead, Wealdstone, Aldershot, etc. You know, I think if we, obviously, I'm not taking anything away, it just proves though that we won 5-0 against Maidstone, but I think we could definitely be a bit more fluid in our attacking play, and I do feel like with Elliot Lee in that centre attacking midfield role, it would almost be like we're playing with a front three. Imagine Elliot Lee providing for Mullin and Palmer up front, and then you've got Davis sat behind him who doing the same job. Luke Young, O'Connor dictating the play in the midfield. Just imagine how well we would do, and our performances would probably improve so much more. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert, I'm not a football manager, I'm far off it, but as fans, it would be lovely to see us go for something different. We know if it doesn't work, we've got the 5-3-2 in our locker that we know definitely works. Sometimes as well, that's why we don't win games in this league, because we just don't have that extra threat in the final third. And you know, if things aren't going well, get Dolby on, he can be brought on as an extra striker. I think with Elliot Lee there as well, we would just have an insane attacking front three of Palmer, Mullin and Lee. I think we'd do so much better if we did have that centre attacking midfielder. Like I said, the likeliness of this happening is probably quite low, because obviously Parkinson's, his favoured formation is the 5-3-2, and you know, it's worked for his teams before. So yeah, he's unlikely to change it anytime soon. So Parkinson, if you're watching, please try it if you have a trophy game coming up, or, you know, try it tomorrow against Gateshead. It probably won't happen, but as the fans, we'd love to see something change. Obviously, we're doing really well at the minute, but we would just love to see a different formation change just to see how it would do. It doesn't hurt to try something different as well. So we're going to be going on to the final topic, which is the Gateshead preview before tomorrow night's Tuesday night game. Saying I'm buzzing is definitely an understatement. I cannot wait for this one. Gateshead come into this National League fixture winless. Surprisingly, having lost to Wealdstone and Dorking. They lost to Dorking last week. But on the other hand, they've drawn 3, so they're winless, but they've only lost 2 games. Obviously, they've picked up a really good point against Barnet, Notts County, Dagenham away, which many teams struggle to pick up points against Dagenham and Notts County. So I don't think they're a team that we should really be underestimating at all. And we definitely do need to be prepared for a challenge, because I don't think Gateshead are going to be any pushovers and will obviously be coming to the racecourse to try and cause an upset. Wrexham, on the other hand, we are just a different breed at home under the floodlights on a Tuesday night. We have only lost one home game in the last 636 days. That's obviously Tuesday night games. What a crazy stat that is. So it just shows, we're really good at home on Tuesday nights. I don't know what it is. It must be the massive floodlights being turned on. I think if we're on our game tomorrow, it could easily be 3 or 4-0. Do I think that's the way it's going to go? It's hard to predict. We don't know what's going to happen in this league. If I try and predict anything, say if I go for a 4-0 victory, we'll probably end up losing 2 or 3-0. But if I say we're going to win 1-0, we'll probably win 5-0. So I'm going to keep my mouth closed for now. The Heed Army have got a few players to look out for, in my opinion. They've obviously got Greg Ollie, the former Hull City player. I think he's a great player to have in that midfield, as that attacking threat as well. He's a player that I think most National League fans have heard of and think obviously highly of. And then you've obviously got Adam Campbell up front. 3 and 5 so far in the National League. He's providing to be a good player up top for Gateshead. So hopefully our defence can stop him from adding to that tally tomorrow. Going into tomorrow, personally for me, I know I said I wasn't going to give a score prediction, but I'm really confident going in tomorrow. And I think if we're on our game, it will obviously send the sold out home end happy. Let me know what you think the score prediction for the Wrexham v Gateshead game tomorrow is going to be. I'm intrigued to know what you think of this game. I'm sure there'll be mixed predictions in the comments. That is another episode of the Talk Wrexham podcast wrapped up. Let me know what you want me to talk about in next week's episode. And yeah, as always, I'll see you tomorrow for the matchday vlog. Take care, everyone.